to the channel. It's your girl, Brooke Loves Books 23, back with another video. And today we are going to be doing an author introduction so you can get to learn more about me and my writing journey. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Auckerman and I am a children's book author. My writing journey starts back to when I was a child. So we're talking like 5 and 6 years old. I would write little stories on my family computer and I would staple pieces of paper together like I published a book. And I would read my stories to my grandma, my mom, anyone in my family that would listen. I would read it to them. And they would say, "Oh my gosh, did you just write this?" And I would say, "Yeah." And they're like, "No, really, did you write it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And they were like, "Oh my gosh, I want to hear more of this story." And I'm like, "Well, that's the end of it." They were little short stories. And then as I got older, I would say around 5th grade, I would write plays on the computer. I don't really write plays that much anymore. I think I wouldn't say I grew out of them. It's just been a while since I sat down and did that. But back in 2000, I want to say near the end of 2023, I began getting an idea about Loretta Owl. And Loretta Owl came about because I was bullied when I was a kid. It started in kindergarten. I got bullied for my skin color because my mother is white and my father is black. So I am biracial. And when I was little, I was very light skinned. And I remember going to school one day, we were getting in line. I think we were changing classes or going to lunch. We were in the middle of a transition for sure. And one of my classmates called me Pinky. And her friends laughed at me because I was light skinned. So for some of my peers at school, I wasn't white enough to fit in with them, and then for the rest of my peers, I wasn't black enough to fit in with their group. And there's a lot of misconceptions about being biracial, like, oh, if you're mixed, you have it easy because both sides like you, and that's definitely not the case. Biracial people get discrimination as well. We get discriminated as well. Not saying that happens more than any other race or ethnicity. I just wanted to clear that misconception up because that's been my experience with being biracial. So it started with that. And then I would get bullied because of my disability. I am on the autism spectrum. So while most of my classmates would get their math worksheet and they would speed right through it, I would not. I had trouble with basic math skills for a very long time. Addition was never a problem with me. It was more like subtraction, multiplication, division. I struggled with those 3 concepts, but getting the help that I needed from my resource teacher and my family, I was able to eventually excel at those skills. But I would get bullied for that. And then when I got to high school, I got cyberbullied really bad. So my grandma, I would come home from school every day and tell my grandma about my day, tell my family about my day. And my grandma Loretta was always very supportive of me. And I might get emotional in this video because I'm filming this in October, and on October 28th, it's the anniversary of her passing to her heavenly balcony, as I like to say. So talking about her around this time of year is really hard for me. But I would talk to her every day, and she would tell me, stand up for yourself. Don't let people get to you. You're amazing. You're amazing. But I don't like confrontation, so I wouldn't stand up for myself, and I've seen people stand up for themselves and it still didn't work out for them, so I just dealt with it. But in high school, it got really bad to where I had to go to therapy before I went to my first period class because I lost some friends because it were my group of friends that cyberbullied me. Um, so around 2023, I began working on the first Loretta Owl book called Be Kind, because when I was getting bullied, and I've always been an avid reader, always loved writing, but when I would go to the children's book section around that age, there was never a book that talked about bullying, especially anti-bullying. So that motivated me to write a story called Be Kind, Loretta Owl, and it is an anti-bullying story told from the bully's perspective. I chose to write from the bully's perspective because there's a lot of reasons why someone decides to one day become a bully. And that's either one, they have problems within themselves, two, they have problems at home, and three, they just don't want, if they see their peers bullying this person, they don't want to get victimized next, so they join in on the bullying. So that's what Loretta Owl does. She gets a new classmate in her class. All of her classmates are bullying this new classmate, and Loretta decides to join in. And her class learn the importance of being kind no matter what. And I feel like, especially in 2025, bullying is a huge problem, especially because it happens on social media. So a lot of parents think if their child is getting bullied, it's going to end whenever they come home. And that's not the case. It was the case for me when I was in kindergarten and through fourth grade, because you don't have a cell phone. So you knew, okay, I'm going to get bullied at school, but when I get home, I'll be fine. I'll be happy. But now in this day and age with social media, people are going to be bullying your kids while they're at school, and then the bullying is going to follow your kid home with you. And what I really love and appreciate about my parents is when I got a cell phone, they did phone checks. So they would make sure I wasn't doing anything I wasn't supposed to do, wasn't on any websites I wasn't supposed to be on, and they would check my text messages. And that's how they found out that I was getting cyberbullied. I brought my phone to them and showed them. So I would just say, definitely, if you are a parent and your child is experiencing getting bullied, please don't think that the bullying is going to end once they get home with you. It does not, 9 times out of 10, like I said, and definitely consider doing phone checks. So while I was in the beginning process of writing Be Kind, Loretta Owl, my mom was talking to her friend. Her name is Charlotte, and she ended up being my publisher. And she had mentioned to Charlotte just like what I've been through so far in life and how I write stories, and she really wants to get my stories out there because she really loves my writing. So my mom told me to send the draft that I was working on to Charlotte so that she could read it. And I didn't think anything was going to come out of it. I thought she would just read it and give me her feedback, but she reached out to my mom after she read it and said that she was interested in working with me. She was interested in helping me become a published author and get Loretta Owl published. And so after that, I continued to work on Be Kind Loretta Owl, and she gave me the options of 3 different illustrators. And I chose As Quill Art. She is from Pakistan and she does amazing work. She brought Loretta Owl to life. I chose As Quill because out of the 3 people that Charlotte showed me their work and what they did with my story, As Quill actually read what I wrote. She read Be Kind Loretta Owl, and she actually did an amazing job in showing me what she could do to bring my story to life. The others, I'm not going to say they didn't read the book, but their work, while it was amazing, it wasn't how I pictured Loretta and Sunnyvale to be. So As Quill really blew me away with going above and beyond. So that's why I chose her as my illustrator for the series. And then in June of 2024, we released Be Kind Loretta Owl. And it's received such amazing feedback. It has a lot of 5-star reviews on Amazon and Goodreads. And I love all of the books that I've wrote for Loretta and friends, but this one will always be my favorite because I'm an advocate for special needs people and just people in general. Like, I love to be kind to people. I never want to leave a sour taste in someone's mouth. I never want to be the reason that somebody feels bad because I've been there. I have felt bad because other people made me feel bad. So I just want to spread nothing but positivity in the world with my storytelling and teach kids valuable lessons. My favorite part of Be Kind Loretta Owl is actually whenever Mrs. Honey, the teacher, and Mommy Owl, at the end of their meeting, Loretta agrees to write an apology letter to her classmate that she bullied. And Mrs. Honey tells her, "Here's a little piece of advice. Be kind, Loretta Owl. Kindness is free and not a lot of people spread it in the world today. We need more positivity in our world. Be the person who makes others feel good." So that's my favorite part of this book. And then after we released Be Kind Loretta Owl, I began working on the second book. And at the time, I wanted to talk about autism and write a book about autism awareness, but also it was getting around the holiday season, so I wanted to make it a festive book and talk about giving back to others and helping other people that are in need. So that's how Loretta Owl's Big Christmas Wish came to be. Like I told you in the beginning, I am on the spectrum. I am high functioning. Me and all of my siblings are on the spectrum, but my brother Sterling is nonverbal. So in Loretta Owl's Big Christmas Wish, I introduce a brand new family in Sunnyvale, the Panda family. And that consists of Mommy Panda, Daddy Panda, Andy Panda, who is not on the spectrum, but the older brother of Agnes Panda, his sister that is nonverbal on the autism spectrum. And Loretta Owl learns how to be a good friend to Agnes, what autism is. And then the Panda family is struggling a little bit in the holiday season. So Loretta asks Santa to help her to make sure the Panda family has an amazing Christmas, which I think is beautiful. And at the end of the book, my favorite part of this one is that Santa pulls out a tablet for Agnes to help her communicate with her family. And I think that's just so beautiful because Mommy Panda gets so emotional at the end of this book because it's the first time that Agnes can actually talk to her. And sure, it's not Agnes's voice, but it kind of is her voice because she uses the tablet to communicate, and it's the first time she's able to say anything, and she says Merry Christmas. So I really loved writing this story as well. There's not a lot of books that talk about autism awareness. There are some out there, but none that I'm quite acquainted with that I have read. So I was really excited to write this book to have representation of people on the spectrum and also teach kids about giving back. So what Loretta does is she goes through her old things and gives the pandas some of her old books, some of her old toys, and then Santa comes and brings them extra gifts and stuff. So they have an amazing Christmas and a feast with the panda family. So this is a really cute book. After I wrote this book, I got contacted by someone that runs an autism book website, and it's books that are written by people on the spectrum. And at the time, this was the only book that I had that was for autism awareness, and they put it on their website, which was really cool and amazing. And one of the parents that I met at my very first book signing was very emotional when she picked up Be Kind, Loretta Owl, because her son was going through what I was going through with getting bullied. And she thought it was so amazing that someone on the spectrum wrote a book and communicated how they felt, and had such a positive message in this book. So she hugged me and I signed the book for her son. But when my aunt and my hairdresser and other people read Loretta Owl's Big Christmas Wish, they came back to me and they were emotional. They felt like it was a beautiful story, especially because Agnes finally gets a voice. So I really enjoyed writing this book. So after I wrote Loretta Owl's Big Christmas Wish, I wanted to write a book for Autism Awareness Month, because even though I touched some base on autism awareness in Loretta Owl's Big Christmas Wish, I wanted to go more in depth so that we could learn more about Agnes Panda and her struggles on the spectrum. So I used my experience with having trouble in math to write Loretta Owl in the Great Homework Heist. And this was released in March. I think I released it on my grandma's birthday, March 24th. And a lot of people really enjoyed this book. Agnes is having trouble in math class, and one of her friends are giving her a hard time. Like, this should be easy. Use your multiplication chart. It's not that hard. And Andy and Loretta and Mrs. Honey teaches the class that everybody learns differently. And it doesn't mean that you're not smart. It doesn't mean that you're never going to equip this skill. It's just going to take more time. And that's okay. And I think it's absolutely beautiful how in the end, they all come together and help Agnes to finish her homework. They raised their hand and said, instead of doing our assignment, can we help Agnes finish her homework from last night? So they help her with the first two problems. She does the last two problems by herself and gets them correct, and Mrs. Honey writes an A on her paper and circles it as her class cheers for her. And Agnes types on her tablet, "Thank you all for helping me understand multiplication and being so patient with me. You're the best class a panda could ask for." And I think what really makes my Loretta Owl series stand out is the majestical pictures, because A lot of kids love picture books. And if the pictures are majestic, if the pictures are cute and relatable to the kids, it's going to keep them entertained while they're also learning an important lesson that they can then apply to their everyday life. Being kind is free, and I don't think a lot of parents teach their kids that lesson. It's so easy to walk up and be a jerk to somebody, but the world is a very big place, and not everyone and everything that happens in it is going to be amazing. So we should really spread positivity in society nowadays and spread kindness and encourage people to chase their dream. Make somebody's day that's going through a hard time. Just you acknowledging somebody's existence. Just you saying, "Oh, I like your hair. Oh, you look so beautiful today." That little thing, it may not seem like a big deal to some of you, but just that one little compliment can boost somebody's confidence and make their day. I work at my local amusement park when I'm not writing books. And every time I see a guest, if I see a kid, I'm like, "Hi, are you excited to go inside? Are you going to go into a haunted house? Or if it's Christmas, are you excited to see Santa?" If I'm dealing with an adult customer, I'll say, "Oh my gosh, I really like your hair today." Or if they're wearing a really cool shirt, I acknowledge that just to make sure that they're having a good time, make sure they're having a good day. And if they're not, just making sure that I have a positive interaction with them that can hopefully make their day better. So that's why I really love writing Loretta Owl. I also love writing Loretta Owl because children's literacy has went down a lot. Not a lot of kids read nowadays. Some do, but some do not because they think it's boring or there's nothing that piques their interest. And the thing is, Loretta Owl is for everybody. Loretta Owl could even be for adults because some adults don't know how to be kind. So if they read Be Kind, Loretta Owl, it'll probably make them think, you know what, maybe this is why my kid keeps getting in trouble. Like maybe this is why my kid keeps hitting people because I'm not teaching them to be kind to others. And a lot of kids really love the Loretta Owl series. I went to a classroom for career day earlier this year, and this class's face lit up when they saw me because not only were they excited to see me and learn about Loretta Owl, but they were excited to show me that they published their own book about sea animals, and it was very, very amazing. So I just want Loretta Owl to be the series that spreads positivity through kids, teaches them valuable lessons, and makes them excited to read because reading can take your kid on so many adventures. Reading for me as an adult is just like how it was for me as a kid. It's my little escape from reality. You're in that book's world. Whether it's a romance for me, you're still in their world, you're in their town. If it's fantasy for me with dragons and like Harry Potter, for example, I'm in Hogwarts, I'm in whatever city that the dragons are in. Reading helps you to use your imagination. Reading is a valuable way to escape reality, like I said. And it just takes you on adventures that you can't experience when you're not reading. And it also helps your kid in real life when they have to pay bills one day, or when they're in college and they have to read Shakespeare or classical novels. Reading is just so important, and I don't think anyone really sees the decline in literacy in kids. I have experienced kids just working at my other job that they don't know their birthday. They don't know how to spell their name, and that's okay. I don't judge them. I type in the first letter of their name and their last name when their parent spells it, and I find them no problem. But the important thing is that we have the power to make literacy go up again in kids. And I want kids to be excited to read. Before we end the video here, there's one more book that we have not had the honor of talking about yet, and that's my recent release, Don't Talk to Strangers, Loretta Owl. I wrote this book based on my experience working at my local amusement park, and we have a chaperone policy. And it's in full effect in the fall and the winter seasons. And parents will drop their kids off that are very, very young by themselves. And they'll go up to strangers to get them into the park. And I take pride in my job. And I want to make sure that everyone at our park is safe. And I always ask them, the adult that they bring to me, do you know them? Like if they came up without an adult the first time and they bring me one, do you know them? And some adults will lie to me and tell me that they do know them. And some adults will be honest and tell me that they don't. And I explain to them why it's not okay to take someone else's child into the amusement park. Because if you do that and you don't know these kids, and maybe you're not going to hurt them. Maybe you do just want to be nice and help them to have a great day. But if those kids get injured and you sign paperwork that you're responsible for them, and their parents pick them up at the end of the night and they're severely hurt, you are held accountable for that. If you are someone with poor intentions with these kids, and these kids find out as soon as you get them in and they try to tell us that they don't know you, but then you help them lie to us, so we're thinking they're just playing around and we can't take it seriously because you signed paperwork for them, then they're left in a tough situation. And I just felt like it was very important for me to write this book to teach kids not to talk to strangers. And I did it in a comedic, funny way because your friends, when you first meet them, they're strangers. So I don't want kids to be afraid to interact with people in general. I just want to teach kids the difference between someone having good intentions and poor intentions, and the consequences that can happen if you go with a stranger. So in Loretta Owl's case, they go to their amusement park. They get turned away because they don't have an adult. Their friend, Hopper Rabbit, meets a stranger named Tanya Wolf. Tanya Wolf gets them into the park. They have a full day of fun. They had no issue with Tanya. They thank her for getting them inside of the park and walking them around. Well, then she offers to take them home to Loretta Owl's house. And when they get into her car, there's another stranger, Jack the Lizard, and he tries to get them in the car with candy. And that's the funny part to me, because what lizard eats gummy worms and candy? And then Mommy Owl rescues them because she gets a bad feeling, kind of like mother's intuition that something isn't right, the kids are late, something's wrong. And she saves the kids and contacts the police. And then the next day, the police come to the school and teach the kids about stranger danger. And Mommy Owl talks to Loretta Owl about stranger danger. So this was my recent release. I released it back in July. And I've received a lot of positive feedback, especially from my hairstylist. She read it to her granddaughter, and her granddaughter loves Loretta Owl. So I'm excited to continue my writing journey. The original idea was for Loretta to have 8 books, and that's definitely still going to be the case because that's what my contract is for the Loretta Owl series, is 8 books. Not to say that I might not surprise you guys and write more for Loretta or start another children's book series, but we might visit Sunnyvale again. But I do have plans to write for young adults. I'm working on a neurodivergent romance, and I'm really excited. I've been working on it since last year, and I think because I'm so used to writing for children, um, writing in the romance genre is going to be a learning experience for me. Just because it's formatted in a different way, and obviously it's a romance, so it's going to be cute, but not like cheesy cute like for the kids. So I'm very excited to continue my writing journey. I am always going to continue to advocate for people with disabilities and people that do not have disabilities. And I can't wait to share more of my book content with you guys. I am going to be posting on YouTube once a week, maybe do some read alouds like we did the last time. In the previous video, I read Be Kind, Loretta Owl, so I think we're going to make it a series on here, like story time with Brooke. But I hope you guys enjoyed getting to learn more about me. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment down below and I will do my best to answer all of them. And I will see you guys in our next video. If you are interested in reading Be Kind, Loretta Owl, or any of the 4 Loretta Owl books, they are available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle format. Paperback is $12 and the Kindle format is $2.99. I also sell them on my TikTok shop, so you could check me out on TikTok at Brooke Loves Books 23. And I also do local community events sometimes, so I will advertise if I'm participating in any local community event around McKeesport or Pittsburgh and let you guys know. I am in the process of writing book number 5 for Loretta, and I can't wait to share more about that as we go through this process. I might even film a vlog of me working on it leading up to its release. I have a lot of ideas for this channel to make it both educational for kids and fun for kids to watch, but also for parents to give you a guide on the different lessons that I'm going to be talking about. But I hope everyone has an amazing day. You enjoyed this video. Stay blessed, be kind, and stay safe. And I will see you guys in our next video. Bye.